So, Sameer, in this section we talk about GRC, UBA, identity, and access management. Right now, all of these are area of concerns, right? In the current times. Now, can you give us an idea of how important or how will these technologies impact us going forward?
Okay, so starting with the GRC, like your governance, risk, and compliance, it is a business has to decide that what comes first.
Right.
For me, if I look at it as a overall, it's like a three corners angle of your triangle, where if one is compromised, the other two are going to be compromised.
True.
Okay. The compliance, like you have to decide how the business is going to, who is the driving factor. Okay, is the compliance a driving factor for you? Is the risk driving factor for you? Or the governance is driving factor for you? For every business is going to be a different. But when you talk about compliance, you have to talk about risk and the governance. You can't independently think about the compliances which you're talking about.
So all have to work hand in hand.
All work has to work together in this, and that has to, as a part of your DNA of the company or organization, that has to be there in that one. It cannot work independently.
Right.
It cannot work independently.
So they're all interdependent and they have to work cohesively. True. Now, how can the use of UBA be optimized, and what are the key areas that any organization should focus when they're implementing UBA solutions?
Okay, so initial days, like before pandemic, we used to talk about the identity management. Okay, maybe this UBA started quite some time back, but all these things are coming to a forefront is like after the pandemic, people are
true. It just got amplified
after that.
True.
Right.
True.
So before the pandemic, we used to say, okay, it is identifying a user and what is that user is going to do, how I'm going to control that, and main focus was identification of that person or the user.
Right.
Today it is, as I told you, the more threat happens from the insider, right? So we need to understand the behavior pattern, like what are the access has been given, what are the amount of information he has access to, okay, what are the information and how is the information is going to consume. Okay, that is one part, but yes, you have to also need to look at it from the external point of view, because being the remote users, you have to look at it that area also, that how the person is going to access. You have to have the behavioral of particular user, that today I have given the particular set of rights or for a particular domain. Now whether he is accessing that domain, that particular set of information, or he is trying to put in differently. Okay, there are so many. If you dip down, it's going to be big session for it.
True.
But in a nutshell, I will say that yes, today the UBA is the key. People need to look into it, and especially for the banking and financial segments, it is very, very important.
True. So, are the users aware that they are being watched, they are being monitored, and do you think it affects their work and how they work?
Yes, when you that particular monitoring of a user behavior, it's been there from the beginning. People adapt to it. Okay. But moment you start something new, there is a rejection.
Absolutely. You mentioned earlier. Yeah. True.
So that has to have that life cycle of training them, making them understand that this way why the controls have been put in. Okay. Yeah, there is going to be a rejection, but yes, we'll have to eventually work out way into that. That becomes the standard part of the day-to-day work.
True.
Where everything is going to get monitored. Okay. And nothing is going out of the scope of this security.
So you're being empathetic at the same time saying that we are watching.
We are watching. It has to be there. Without that you can't protect.
Yeah, protect. Absolutely true. So Sameer, you of course mentioned about the importance of having UBA and how it impacts the overall working of the organization. But UBA, the user behavior analytics as a solution, how big do you think is this going to grow in the coming years?
It's going to be a part of the DNA of your organization, where especially for the banking and financial segments, especially for the insurance segment, it is going to be very crucial, because they are holding information which will impacting a larger population of people, larger industry impact which will have, like just for information in insurance sector,
Right.
they are holding a lot of critical information with them.
Absolutely.
Right? And that going out in open, in public, is going to have a very adverse impact on your business.
True.
Okay, and we have seen so many cases in past.
Right.
Okay.
Where information has got leaked of lakhs and crores of people.
Lakhs and crores.
True.
And we being India, like the second largest population, so a lot of information as compared to any of the part of the world.
True.
Okay.
True.
So today we have all, even if you count just the user and the people information,
True.
is huge.
True. True.
Okay. So UBA is going to be a kind of a part of the DNA of your information security.
Right.
Okay.
It'll be a must-have
solution kind of thing.
In the country.
You cannot
you can't do without it.
You cannot shy away, or maybe not right word, but you cannot do without that. You can say that.
True. Talking about privilege access management, right? It's something that goes hand in hand with UBA as well, right? How critical is it to employ PAM solutions for any organization?
Depending upon the organization level of information security which they want to implement, but PAM is going to be the key factor, because especially after this pandemic with the remote access, you have to identify each and every user. Anybody who is having access to your information systems, you have to identify. May it be your insider, may it be outsider, your customer, your service provider, whoever is accessing your information, you have to identify, and that will lead the trail of audits with this thing which you can utilizes for the cyber law. So we are a code of law which will put in that the data which has been collected by that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So privilege access management is again a key factor where you need to look at it to protect your information from the unknowns.
Unknown people. True. In fact, I think very much so, because privileged users are the ones who get first attacked, right? Because they have so much of access to information.
Privileged users are your insider users who especially from the IT team, from the development, from the operations.
Right, who probably have a lot of rights. Admin rights, user rights, all of those things. True.
So initially we, as I told you, when we knew that within the periphery of my organization, I knew I'm protecting it.
Right.
The moment I'm going public, moment I'm going out of my periphery of this domain, it becomes crucial.
True. Absolutely. Now, also with remote working, single sign-on as a process has become very effective. How do you think that is impacting the industry, or how is it helping rather?
With this remote access, the single sign-on has little taken a backstage, because when it started, it was the key thing. Like it's like I have a multiple application which I'm running from. Maybe it's from my finance, my HRMS, my work management portal, various portals which you used to have. You have multiple sign-on, but today, when you are looking at it in terms of remote access, now one single access compromising, you are opening up the entire door for that. Right. So it is privileged, like to have that. I'm a single sign-on, as long as you were pre pandemic era when you had, it was like good to have.
True.
Okay, so I don't need to remember so many passwords. I'm giving the access to that.
True.
But today I'm going the remote access, and if I'm not able to control that access, I'm not able to identify the users, I'm not able to limit them to that particular domain, I'm giving away the entire set of information
on a platter.
On a platter.
True.
Right.
True.
So once it was a privilege, now it is to really look into that, how we want to look at a single sign-on.
True. True. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you. Again, a very insightful conversation, Sameer. Thank you.